Welcome to the Tea Hut, the podcast for unorthodox entrepreneurs striving for success by going against the grain, breaking down barriers beyond the biscuit tin, revealing what property professionals and construction workers really talk about on their tea breaks. Join us as we delve deep to uncover what it takes to succeed and be the best version of yourself.
Boom. So welcome to the Tea Hut podcast again. This is me, your host, Robbie Dunchow. For those of you that don't know who I am, but I sort of gather you would if you're here. Welcome again. In this episode, we're going to be talking to Frank Antoniak. None of you are going to probably know who Frank is, but that's good. That's good. Frank is my younger brother, and he is an apprentice bricklayer. Works for our business, our construction company. And yeah, introduce yourself, Frank. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously, I've just pretty much done it, but go on. I'll let you introduce yourself.
So Rod's my brother. I used to live in Hitchin in Hertfordshire, and I moved up here probably about a year ago now.
Yeah.
About a year ago now, I've moved up here. I was doing a college course in St Albans, but I've started up in doing an apprenticeship now in Yarmouth College, so that's only 1 day a week. I don't know, I pretty much work.
You're a grafter.
You're a routine,
Yeah, and what I want to talk about today is apprenticeships, you've just started working on a big site, haven't you? We've got you on a fairly big site with a couple of our lads doing groundworks, haven't we? So how are you finding that at the moment, your first experience of it? I mean, how many houses? I think they're doing like 600 houses there,
I think it's about 400.
Yeah.
The biggest site I've been on, I've done sites with 1 or 2 houses, obviously, with you.
Little ones.
Yeah, Yaxley, Ford Green and things like that. Otherwise, just been private work, really, innit? Like extensions and...
Yeah.
I like that sort of work, but I don't mind site work. I do enjoy it. It's different to what we normally do, like with the private job. Just the whole layout of it's different.
Yeah. Do you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy all sort of it. I like getting my hands dirty.
Hey, proper little apprentice. No, but why construction? Because it ain't always been that for you, has it?
I wanted to be a police officer when I was 12, 13, maybe even a
no
bit
brother
older.
of mine will ever be a police officer.
Yeah, that dream scene changed.
That did
very quickly.
I'm pretty sure that I met you because we didn't have contact, did we?
Nah.
When you were younger, because we got different mums, and we didn't have contact. So I think the first time I met you, like properly, I met you when you were born, and then we didn't see each other till, I don't know, I think you were like 13, 14.
The Dragon King, wasn't
it? At the Chinese, and you were like, oh, I want to be a police officer. And I think I might have even looked at you at the time and been like, nah. But you have these silly little dreams when you're young. You don't know what you want to be, do you?
Nah.
You didn't have a fucking clue what you wanted to be at that age, did you?
I didn't have a clue. It was just pleased. I don't know.
I want to be a police officer.
Yeah. I don't know what pushed me to want to be that.
It was just one of them things, isn't it? Yeah. I think you get told, oh yeah, police are a good job.
Like cops and robbers at school.
Yeah.
Chase criminals down.
What changed then? So like, obviously you wanted to be a police officer, and then what happened at school? Like, what was that period after that point for you? What was it like?
I got kicked out of my secondary school.
Yeah.
Last day of year 10. It's a bit silly of me. It was the last day I got kicked out of there. I feel the whole police officer thing, I think that sort of stopped when I was about 14, 15. I was a quick little...
Yeah, but that's probably, you probably started hanging around with different people.
Yeah,
and like, you'd be a police officer for, bro.
It was that, yeah. You start doing silly stuff yourself. You don't want to go arrested all your mates.
You're like, I don't want to be a copper.
Yeah,
I get it.
You get nurtured to not want to do that. But yeah, construction only really, that was only, since I started working for you now and again. Not.
So how old? You're 19 now, aren't you? 18.
In April, 2 months, 19.
Yeah, so you're nearly 19. So how old were you when you first come up? I think you were like, 16? Or just about to turn 16 when you first came up here?
I was 15, 16 when I first come up.
So when you first came up, like you were going through a spot of bother, weren't you? Like, with the people you were hanging about with and all that. And I just want to, what was that point like? Because I know your mum, like, she's got 3 other kids at home.
Yeah.
You were like, you know, getting to an age where you didn't really want to be there, not because your mum's a bad mum, but because like it was a small little home, innit?
Yeah, several reasons really, but yeah, I don't know. It was a small house, my mum's house. So
Yeah.
I was in a bunk bed with my little brother.
Yeah.
I could sit up, and my head's on the ceiling. Like,
I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, normal people coming from a council estate,
Yeah,
normal people. Do you know what I mean? Like the average listener that will probably listen to this will be from that background.
yeah. I definitely didn't come from a wealthy silver spoon in my mouth background.
Yeah. No, that's good, mate. That's good.
It teaches you things.
Yeah, it does.
Be humble and appreciate things. And do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it does teach you.
You're a very grateful young man. Like when you get given stuff, you're very like thankful for it, and you know, like because when you grow up and you're just given stuff all the time and you don't know the value of things, you don't give a shit about it.
Take it for granted. Yeah, I knew a lot of my mates that, well, not a lot. I had 1 or 2 mates that come from a different sort of area, kind of different sort of families. Do you know what I mean? Places like, and you see how some kids that aren't taught that they do take things for granted. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's not jealousy. It's more you look at it like, is that not a big thing for you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I suppose it's things like that. But
you grow up different experiences, and then when you come up to mine the first time, you done a little bit of work with me, didn't you? You liked it.
Yeah.
And then you went home, and I think I offered to help you. No, at that point, I think you were looking to go into college, weren't you?
You offered me quite a while ago, I think, to come to work. You remember you said to me, you obviously knew what I was getting myself involved in, silly stuff. And I remember you said to me, look, why don't you move up here? Like, I'll give you a room. You can come work for me. Remember you said it ain't gonna be a fucking holiday, mate. Like, you're coming up here, you're gonna
graft,
gonna work and sort your shit out, basically.
Yeah.
I needed that.
But you went back. So you went back. You wanted to get into college, didn't you? And we spoke about it, and I was like, why don't you just do a trade, do bricklaying? Yeah. Because you were going to do plumbing, weren't you?
Plumbing, that's what I was going to do.
You were going to do plumbing, and I said, look, if you, from my point of view, if you go to college and do a bricklaying course, you're going to be more useful to me if you want to come and work with me. Yeah. And I think that's what you wanted to do at the time, wasn't it?
I think I remember a lot of people at the time saying, oh, electric, plumbing, that's the best things to get into, electric or plumbing. Like, so obviously at the time I didn't really know anything. I just thought, oh, sweet, I'll do plumbing.
I'll do that. Yeah. And no, we worked it out, didn't we? We spoke about it, and you were like, we worked out that bricklaying was probably going to be the better thing for you. We got you into that. You went home, started your college. And I'm right in saying that you've done your first year.
First year and a half I did.
Yeah. And then you done first year, went well at home. I think were you still living at home at this point?
I lived at home for the first 6 months. I think I was 15, 16. I was about
16, I think you would have been by then, yeah.
Yeah, so I was about a year or just under a year into my first college course, and that's when
Then you turned 17 in your first year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously in your second year, you went to a different college?
No, I stayed in St Albans College until I got kicked out of St Albans College.
Why?
I had a fight in college.
Yeah, you know? But you're not really I know you quite well, really well.
No, I'm not a bad person.
And you're not a really aggressive person.
Nah.
So was that more of like a sticking up for your mate thing, or what? Or was it just a thing that just kicked off?
Going on like I'm a bad man, trying to show off, and that's all it was. I can't.
But again, you were young then. You've grown up quite a lot in the past few years.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Would you say that that's because you've like lived on your own? You've had to fend for yourself.
Definitely, I definitely agree with that. That's what it is. Yeah, I think it's more the fact because I said I took myself away from it.
You did.
I did in a way. That's why I lived at a girl's house for a little while.
That didn't work out, did it?
It didn't work out. As a girl, I was
told you so.
Yeah, you did as well. A lot of people told me so at the time, but that didn't work out, and I stopped living there. And then I was sofa surfing really for a bit. Like I didn't want to live at my mum's house. Like I say,
it was small.
Several reasons, yeah. And I was like living at one of my pals' houses and another one. And I was sort of whatever the night.
Wherever you could fucking go.
Whoever I'm with, I can't stay at yours tonight, mate. Like, whatever, you know what I mean?
That's a shit way to live, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It did stress me out at times, but then I got in contact. It was one of my friend's mums, actually, Charlie, he was a close friend of mine I was living with at the time. His parents, they did look out for me. Do you know what I mean? And they got in contact with someone. It was HYH. It's Hearts Young Homeless. It's
it's what temporary accommodation.
Yeah. So I got in a place in Hemel Hempstead. I went first.
Yeah.
Went to Hemel Hempstead for a while. That opened my eyes a bit there as well. Like just being there, just away from it. Like because I was used to going out every single day. I was with my mates. There weren't a day I weren't with my mates. And all of a sudden, like you're by yourself. You know, hostel. You don't know anyone. I've never been to Hemel even. Like I didn't know anyone in Hemel. And just having that time to like, I'm a big thinker. I like to think. I sit there and just think about everything.
Yeah.
And that was good for me to have a bit of time to think things through. Before I weren't too keen about coming up here, was I? Because of my mates.
Yeah, well, no, that's what I was going to then go on to and say that around that time, I was saying to you when you were starting your second year maybe, and you were living over in Hemel. Or no, you would have moved back to Hitchin by then.
I think
didn't you live in Hemel in the summer, and then you moved back to go to college in September.
Yeah, I think.
And you were at Jubilee House then.
Yeah, that's because I remember someone I knew at college.
Yeah, because you went back to Hitchin, and then you started your second year at St Albans College.
Saying that, I think I left my last college before I got that place in Hemel.
Where was your second college?
That's the one I'm at now, Yarmouth. I went to two. I went to St Albans for a year.
Yeah.
And it was the same college, but the different building.
Oh,
there,
so right. Okay.
Yeah,
that's where I'm getting confused then.
Yeah.
Okay, so you done that. And then I was saying to you at that time, I was like, look, come up here. Come and stay with me. And I just want to put this into context for people that are listening, like, and what Frank's been through when he was living at home, and sofa surfing and all that stuff, and the stuff he was getting up to. You got dragged into a crack house one day, didn't you?
Yeah.
With your mate by a load of older guys,
Bullies, mate.
older boys.
Yeah.
How old were you at the time?
I was 15, 16.
That's what I mean.
These were a little 19, 20.
15, 16 years old, around the time, he was at college and trying to better his life. He was dragged into fucking crack house by a load of boys that were 4 or 5 years older, sort of.
I will say, I know at least 3 of them now are inside.
Yeah. So 3 of them are now in prison. And they were threatening to stab you and your mates with heroin needles, weren't they?
All sorts of threats, mate. It was all sorts of things. They was, like I say, at one point they were my friends.
Yeah.
They were who I sort of like, in a way, looked up to, because you want to be like the cool.
You respected them.
Yeah, you respected them. You do.
Or you aspired at one point in your life probably to be like them.
I think you respect people for 1 or 2 reasons.
Scared.
You're scared of them. Or they're a genuine person, and
you were probably scared of them.
Yeah, and I was. Yeah, I didn't think they're good people. I knew they were horrible people, and that's why you respect them. You know what you'll get if you don't respect them. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I get you. So you were experiencing that sort of shit. Like, it weren't that you were just going around kicking footballs through windows and being a little shit. It was that you were actually getting into these sorts of situations where you could have got hurt really badly.
A few times, yeah. I've been very scared at points. But again, that teaches you to learn to shut your mouth, and because I can't act like an angel. There's definitely been a few times I've dragged myself into situations I didn't.
And made bad decisions.
Yeah. You let anger get the better.
Yeah, but the key is that you've actually grown up and you've understood now, with hindsight, looking back, that all right, that happened because I made a bad decision.
Yeah.
And I think at I'll just say this now, for someone of your age to sit there and have that wisdom is fucking massive.
I'm happy that I've managed to get out of it and see the bigger picture at my age now, rather than for some people it takes for them to get a prison sentence.
Some people don't get out of it.
Even then some people don't.
We spoke about it a lot. I try and drill this home to you a lot. I know it probably seems like I fucking nag you, and I hope it doesn't, but some people don't ever get out of that.
No.
And you've seen it, haven't you?
I've seen grown men that are bloody like your age, you know what I mean, still just selling a bit of weed and that, trying to make some money.
That's what I mean.
And that's just
who have got families and kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And a lot of the time people do look down on them people, and I'm not
looking down on them people.
I'm not making excuses, but if you're born in that sort of area, you've never had anyone to show you how to do things properly, legally or whatever.
How to earn money, how to manage your money.
If all you've ever seen is junkies and
drug dealing,
things like that from a young age.
That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah, which I'll be honest, I didn't. My home life weren't like that. I didn't. You know
Yeah, your mum was good mum.
Yeah, my mum and that weren't drug dealers, but I knew a lot of people that did have a home life like that, where the house was like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
But so I suppose a lot of people like that it's all they know.
Yeah.
Down there, and that's why. Yeah, like I said, a lot of people do. They judge them sort of kids and them sort of people. But
yeah, the people that judge those people are people that haven't ever experienced that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And how can you comment and judge on something that you have no knowledge about?
Well, yeah, exactly.
You can't. Do you know what I mean? You can have an opinion, but an opinion is a lot different to an actual lived experience. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can comment on that. I can comment on that because I've lived that life. I come from that life. I grew up around that sort of thing. You know I did. So, but for me, it was always like I liked the thrill of being involved in naughty stuff.
Yeah,
didn't you?
Yeah. Well,
I think that's just a young boy thing, isn't it? Like, let's do that. Oh yeah, fuck it. We might get caught. Oh fuck it. Do you know what I mean?
Running from the police. Or like,
it's a bit
like you're in a video game.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun, isn't it? And I get that, but then obviously to the point where, I mean, luckily, thank God, you haven't had a drug problem. So I think you made some good decisions. You might have tried bits and bobs, but you've had the strength to stay away from it.
Yeah, a lot of my pals weren't. That's one thing that a lot of my mates weren't really too interested in, was the drugs. And maybe it's a different era now. Look, it's not as big as it was in the 90s, I suppose, but there's still people do it, and don't get me wrong. Like,
mate, I think it is. I think the drugs are worse now than they probably were in the 90s. I think, I think it's all over the place now, especially with all this fake, synthetic, fucking weird stuff. I mean, it's all shit, right? But, you know, I don't think it's any less of a problem now than it was 10, 20 years ago.
It's not got better, maybe.
Hasn't got better, I'll tell you that for a fucking fact. It has definitely not got better. But yeah, like, for anyone else, like, who might be your age, younger, hopefully there's people out there that are, of your age and sitting there thinking, how do I do this? How do I get out of this situation I'm in? I'm only 18, I can't do this, or whatever. What would you say to that?
I'll be totally honest, and I'll say this confidently. If it weren't for what you've done and me coming up here, you wouldn't have. And I'm not saying if you haven't got someone that will help you, I'm not saying that you're fucked. You're fucked, but I will be honest. If I had stayed down there and stayed doing don't get me wrong, it took me. You have to want it. You have to be like.
Well, yeah, that's what I didn't really say earlier, but the first time that I asked you to come, you said no, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like, no, my mates are down here, my family.
And that pissed me off a little bit, didn't it? Because I was like, I'm offering you a fucking life here.
Can't you see it?
Can't you see what I'm offering you here? And at the time, you were a bit like, nah. I
couldn't see it. I'm like, no, my mate's here. What do you mean? I've got a life here.
And what did I keep saying to you?
I remember, you kept saying, like, mate, you're silly. Like,
they won't be your mates in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
And you've realised you've only been here not even fucking 2 years yet.
Don't talk to
anyone.
Anyone. Person,
not a single. But that's what I'm saying. Not one of them people that you were concerned about leaving because they were your mates have even bothered to come and see you, or even really been bothered to see how you are.
But I sort of.
I know you've distanced yourself.
Yeah. And
that was a choice.
Yeah.
Which I think is a key thing for people.
I had to do that. I feel like.
Exactly. So that's what I was about to try and unwrap that and say. For anyone else that's in that similar position like you, young or maybe not young, that wants to get out of a certain situation that they're in, then you've got to make the choice.
And people say, "Oh, my mates don't." Look, me and my mates were like tight. I can't exaggerate how close we was. I was living there.
I know how you feel, Mal. I had mates the same when I was your age.
Where like they knew everything about me. I knew everything about them. Anytime you saw me or like one of my closest pals, anytime you'd see us, we're together. You'd never see us by ourselves. Like, pretty much for one. Like, people knew us as like our names. Do you know what I mean? As a group, like, that's all it was. Like, and so it was hard at the start. Like, even when I first moved up here, I remember sitting there thinking, oh fuck, my mate's probably all out right now. I'm not doing anything. They're out having fun. Do you know what I mean? I'm sitting here like, or that I'd talk to, and they'd still be doing certain things, and then it makes you feel I'm happy I'm not there because you hear what they're doing. But it is hard to think about leaving your mates. You've got so many memories and that, but I suppose you have to understand that like you said, they're not going to be your mates forever. So if you,
Life goes on.
life does. Everyone's got their own path to take. Everyone's got their
Yeah.
own journey, and sometimes, yeah, you might have made memories. You might have learnt things from each other when you were younger, but
It doesn't
it's
mean it
destiny.
doesn't bond you together forever,
Nah,
does it?
I'm a big believer. A lot. People might think it's spiritual. I'm a
Nah,
big
say it.
believer of fate, like destiny.
Yeah,
Like,
mate,
I
I
believe
have.
everything happens for a reason. Even
That does, yeah.
because I think back to things that at the time I felt like that was the end of the world. Like, oh my god, like.
Yeah, it does at the time when you're going through it. Do you know what I mean?
I think about it now, and I think, right, like I say, I'm a big thinker.
That didn't kill you, made you
Nah,
stronger.
But when I work through every little incident that's happened, I think, right, yeah, at the time that was horrible, but what did that lead to? That led to me doing that.
Yeah.
And what happened then? I done that, and that led to that. So then you think back, if that one
you're
little,
constantly evaluating what the consequence, like the action, reaction,
Yeah.
what's happened when I've done that.
and I think if I didn't make that one little choice that day, that wouldn't have happened. And that way, if I didn't go out or whatever, do that one thing, this wouldn't have happened. And all in all, as it goes on, I probably you wouldn't be where you are now. Do you know what I'm saying? Everything it adds up and it shapes you. And
It's very refreshing to hear a 18-year-old talk the way you do, and that's me being honest.
No.
I've spoke to a lot of younger people. I've hired a lot of younger people over the years. It's never worked out for many reasons. Do you know what I mean? And it's so nice to hear you talk like that and have that, outlook on things at such a young age. And I still don't think you really believe how fucking powerful that actually is.
I don't know. I suppose to me, I don't know.
It's just you, innit? It's just the way you are.
So everyone's got their own outlook on things.
I was like that at your age, though. Do you know what I mean? I was quite philosophical for my age at 18. I was quite mature. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having an older head on your shoulders at a young age, it did a lot for me. I mean, in a way, it was a weight to bear on my shoulders a lot of the time because people always expected more of you. If you're a mature person and you're a young person, people always go, and you do something wrong or you make a mistake.
Better
Or
than that, you shouldn't.
Yeah, people always have this level of expectation for you.
Yeah, I get you.
And when you disappoint that to people, it hurts because it's like, well, fucking hell, I'm 18.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm going to make a mistake.
Yeah, a lot of people. I remember one of my closest mates. I remember his mum actually saying, his mum and stepdad both, they said to me when I was young, first started knocking about with them boys, the mum literally said to me, like, that he's going to ruin you, sort of thing. Like, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Like, because they could see I weren't, like I said, I've never been a bad-hearted kid. No,
Yeah,
I've always
yeah.
had even when we was doing things that.
You were always the good kid out the lot.
Yeah, we've all done things that we regret and that, yeah, they were bad things. They weren't nice things to do, but like, I always had, do you know what I'm saying? You always had a heart, you feel bad and you don't want to, get involved yourself in things. But I remember one of my mate's parents saying to me that he's going to get.
What, about their own kid?
About their own kid.
Fucking hell.
My mum said it to me. Every person, and he was my best mate, my tightest friend I've ever had. Like, and everyone always used to say to me, like, he's going to ruin you. He's going and again, when I look back on things, like, I'm not blaming him. Like, I still got.
You made the choice to do.
Yeah, I've still got
to join him and do
respect for him, even though we don't talk. But like, a lot of the problems I had, or problems we caused together, or problems that some of my mates had caused, that I'd just naturally be involved in because you're a mate. And
killer by association, they call it, mate.
Yeah, it is. It is important
who you surround yourself with.
Yeah. Whether they're your best mates and you've got so much love for them, they're not gonna. Some people you're not gonna progress with. Like they're destined to. That's just them. They're happy doing what they're doing, and what they want in life ain't what you want in life. And
Yeah.
You're not gonna get anywhere together if you're.
Your social life is pretty much
It's dead now.
You haven't got one, have you?
I haven't.
And for an 18-year-old, not to have a decent social life going out, it's hard, isn't it?
It was, but then I don't know, even that, like, it changes your outlook because it's been so long.
Does it bother you?
I'll be honest, some people probably won't even believe me.
Yeah.
But like nowadays, like, it's only really the past few months I've been thinking about it. Like, it don't interest me as much now. Like, I used to sit there and get all like moody about it, thinking like, oh, I'm not going out. Everyone's going out. I've got no one to go out with.
Yeah.
I think now, and some nights it's a Saturday and I'm
chilling,
doing my thing, and I'm thinking like, you know what, like if someone asked me to come out, I probably wouldn't even
can't be asked.
I wouldn't even be asked to go, like
Get pissed or whatever.
Go. Yeah, like it's nice now and again, but it's not something
that interests you.
It don't interest me like I used to. Like,
so what makes you? What stops you doing that? What stops you wanting to go? I mean, not that you don't want to, but what stops you actively seeking to do what a normal 18-year-old does every weekend? What thoughts go into your head that stop you wanting to do that?
Well, I suppose certain things like going out and, like you say, when you go out, people get drunk, go and get on drugs, or you go do whatever.
Are you worried that putting yourself in situations like that you've got like an addictive personality?
I've got an addictive.
And that if you were to do things that you know, go out and do drugs on a Friday, that you're worried that you could then
I could easily pick
get
up
a drug habit
easily if I was to,
or a drink habit or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Does that play on your mind a little bit?
It doesn't. It don't, because I suppose I know I've got an addictive personality. I've always said that, but at the same time, I suppose because I'm up here and I don't go out as much, I don't really play in my head as much. When before we was going out, maybe it would a bit more. People would say like, "Oh, you've been doing that a lot recently," or you know what I'm saying. Then you'd be like, "What are you on about?" Like,
have I?
Yeah, but like, people have said it to me before about things. I suppose just having the opportunity to go out there, I've pretty much blocked that opportunity to go out because I don't.
Yeah.
I do know. I know a few people from my college. I know the lads from work. They've got families and that.
Yeah.
They don't want to. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Really,
You're happy with a quiet life, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm quite a quiet person. You know, I'm quite.
Yeah.
I like keeping myself to myself anyway. So for me, I don't have a problem.
And I think your quality of life, i.e., your ability just to chill and not look over your shoulder when you're out now, and you come home, you do your thing, I leave you alone.
Yeah,
you're not bothered by anyone, and you got your own space, and you're happy with that, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's another thing. It's like we used to go out a lot, but we were scared a lot of the time because we did get ourselves in a lot of problems with like not nice people. There weren't nice people, so yeah, that was a big thing coming up here to like little lower stuff, whatever. Like, nice little seaside town. Everyone's just nice and peaceful. Oh, good morning, you're right.
Yeah, people actually say hello to each other.
Yeah, and you're not looking at you outside the shop like staring.
Mate, that was a culture shock for me when I moved down here.
Yeah, it's just different. It is a different way of life up here, but
it's nice, isn't it?
It is nice. Yeah, it is nice.
So, what would you say if just to close this down? If you got anyone else out there listening who's your age, any advice you can give? If you had to give 3 pieces of advice, 3 things that you could say to someone who might be in a situation they want to get out of, or are in your position, can't get out of it, you know, give 3 bits of advice.
I'd say mainly, like you say, with your friends, I'd say don't ruin your life like
for the sake of pleasing others.
Yeah, for that. Like if your friends are getting up to something and you know it's a peer pressure thing,
and you're not up for it, don't fucking do it.
Yeah, I'd say I'm not easily peer pressured in a way, because I've always had that, like, I don't agree with that, I don't want to do it, mate. I'm not doing it, I don't like that. But like I knew a lot of people that weren't like that, and I knew good kids that were like
doing silly things.
Yeah, and I'm like, because people were nudging them to do it, like,
yeah.
Come on, pussy or something, just do it. Like they will, I suppose. Yeah, don't
don't ruin your life in favour of pleasing others.
Yeah.
What else?
I'd say think very carefully about what you're doing when you're going out, because again, there's a lot of things. Just for a little example, like when we were younger in Halloween, you go out throwing eggs about when you're little and that, like, and I knew one time someone had thrown an egg right at a moving car. And it went, they had the window open. I don't think it didn't go in the car, but I remember flipping out at my mate at the time.
Yeah.
And saying like, mate, if that fucking went through a window and hit a lady with a kid in the back, or even without a kid, like, you've just killed someone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, little things that you go out and you're having a laugh and it's fun. You just, I don't know, you just
keep your wits about you.
Yeah. Don't be a fucking idiot, and don't do one little mistake like that can get you 20 years in prison. Like, you ruined your life. You've thrown it away trying to show off. So I suppose I don't know, but it's hard to think like that when you're 16 and going out.
Yeah, but not, you know, like you said, you've always had that about you.
Yeah.
To you know, have that barrier, but like, well, no, that's not good. So you got number 1.
it's just the peer pressure.
The peer pressure, and obviously don't please others. You got number 2 is think about what you're doing and who you're spending your time with.
Yeah.
What about number 3?
Number 3. Got me thinking now. I'm trying to.
Yeah, mate. That's
I don't
what
know.
it's all about.
I'm trying to think what I would have said to myself, sort of.
Yeah,
thing.
no, that's it. If you could go back like 5 years, what would one thing that you could say to your 13-year-old self who wanted to be a police officer or was a bit confused about life? You know, what would you say to, or a 16-year-old you, when, you know, what would you go back and say to yourself?
I'd probably just say as maybe think, because I've had a bit of a time where everything's going tits up, do you know what I mean? I was living at the hostel and I like, had fucking beef, trouble everywhere. I couldn't go anywhere without like things. I suppose if you are in that sort of situation where you've got a lot of problems and you're not in, you know, the people you're involved with aren't nice people, I'd say just try and don't let it bring you down, and don't just think positive about like it will
get better.
Yeah, you will. There is a chance. Like even if you come from a shithole, you got no money, you got nothing. We had no money. I'd never. My mates never had money. We used to, like,
and you went through your own shit. You know, we got the same dad. He died when you were. Fuck me, I don't know how old you were.
8.
You were young.
I was young.
And you didn't have a good relationship with him.
No.
So, you know, you've been through your own shit as well. But you haven't let, like me, you haven't let that define you.
But again, I think for me, it's just I'm a thinker. Like I said, everyone's got their own different ways. I can't really, I rarely do, like, but if I'm properly losing my shit, like, I'm not someone that, if I get to that point of losing my shit, I can't count to 10. And like, everyone's different, isn't they? But for me, just having that time to myself, if taking myself somewhere and by myself, peaceful, just thinking things through. I don't know, that works.
So number 1 advice is think things through and don't worry too much, and it will get better. Yeah,
it can get better. Don't because I at a time I've said to myself before, like, everyone's a cunt, fuck this, I fucking hate, I'm sick of this shit, got no fucking money, but he's going, you see someone walking in their designer clothes and you're thinking, why is he walking around in that? I've got fuck all. And it makes you, then you go and do silly things because you're jealous at the time, but at the time maybe you are jealous because you're like, how's that fair? Like, why have I got nothing and he's got that? Yeah, I'm living here, I've not even got no fucking food and you're wearing all that. It makes you angry. So I suppose, and you do think like, well, it's something ain't right. It's not. Do you know what I'm saying?
But you can change that, and you've changed that by making better choices. For yourself, haven't you? Yeah. So I think that's a good bit of advice that you can give people that are younger.
Just don't let that life drag you down, Just think it. You can change it. You can.
If you can, you will. Nice one. I appreciate that, Frank, and I hope anyone else that's been listening today has found some value in what me and Frank have been speaking about. And you know, if you are like Frank and you're a younger person and you're struggling in a certain situation with mindset, or you're stuck in a environment you don't want to be in, then, you know, there's always a way out. There is always a way out, and that's the thing to remember. No matter how shit it seems, I think that's what you were trying to say, Frank, and it is
trying to word it.
No matter how shit it is, you know, there is always a way out. It's just about making the right choice to get out. Isn't it?
Change. Like I said, I did get quite lucky in a way, as I've had you just to like. When you offered me, I know at the time I was like.
Yeah, but if you are that person who's in that situation and you haven't got a brother or a sister or a family member who can help you out, then surround yourself with other people. You know, go and get a new group of people to hang around with. Tell them what you're struggling with, and the likelihood is that you will find someone that will help you. Do you know what I'm saying?
It is hard because a lot of people they have the thing like, oh, it's not as easy as just getting out of it. Cause it ain't. Cause
it's not easy when you're in it. It's not.
If you've got trouble when you're in that area, no, even if you change your mindset and go, oh, no, I don't want to do that.
When you're in that situation,
you're still seeing the
you've
same.
You've got to move.
You're still seeing the same people.
No, I agree with that. And I was the same. I had to move away because I was going through stuff at a similar age to you. And the best way for me to get out of that was to move.
Sometimes it's the simplest answer, and sometimes it's the only answer. Just get yourself away.
Start again.
Start fresh. Start again.
Yeah. Now that is a good bit of advice. I'd recommend to anyone who's thinking about it, if that's a viable option for you to get out of the situation you're in and to go somewhere else and start afresh, then fucking do it.
If you've hit rock bottom and you think, oh, I'm not going to get nowhere.
If you've got nothing to lose, then what the fuck are you letting hold you back?
Fuck off and start again.
Yeah. Nice one. So how can people connect with you on social media? Because you're on Insta more or less all the time, aren't you?
I've got an Apprentice.
So what's your name on there? Is it Frank the Bricky?
It's Franco the Apprentice.
But yeah, so if you want to follow Frank, and he shares his work on there, he shares his little videos. What is it? Franco the Apprentice?
Franco.theapprentice.
Franco with an O, so Franco.theapprentice on Instagram. Follow him on there, and I think he's probably on TikTok, but he's always on his Instagram. So if you want to follow him on there, sharing his work and all that sort of stuff.
Frank Antoniak, Facebook.
Frank Antoniak on Facebook. And again, if you want to follow us, it's the T Hut, Goldbrook Homes, Majestic Groundworks and Construction Limited, Robbie Dunchow. Yeah, you can follow me. Listen to the T Hut every week, Sunday. And yeah, it's a nice one, Frank.
Thank you.
And we'll have you again in soon, mate. Take care, yeah?
The T Hut, proudly brought to you by eGrowth Media.